have some breaking news for you, and that is that this is a YouTube exclusive. We are doing our first YouTube-only mini episode.
It's true.
It's a big deal. I'm very excited. And what this is basically Ask PMLE, Ask Per My Last Email. We put out the call for some tricky work-life situations. We got a ton of responses, and we're going to answer one live on this bonus YouTube episode. Should we do it?
Let's do it.
All right, here is the scenario. I believe Chris wrote in and sent us this. Thank you, Chris. Maybe we anonymized the name. Maybe we didn't.
Who knows?
Who knows? But we are protecting his identity. All right, here is what Chris said. I'm in month 6 of a new job in a career field where I've worked 12 plus years. And by every measurable KPI, I'm exceeding all expectations. Okay, Chris, flex. However, it's performance review time, and I've been asked to provide feedback to my boss about his leadership. My review is going to be anonymous to my boss, but HR and his boss can see who wrote the feedback. Okay, I can see where this is going. Here's the issue, Chris says. I strongly dislike my boss, his leadership style, and his vision for the team. I've had the pleasure of working for amazing leaders, and he isn't one of them. Chris, you're a savage. Do I share my feedback anonymously and risk being outed by HR as the one who shared negative feedback? Or do I keep my mouth shut and pretend everything is amazing with this dumpster fire called, in parentheses, leadership? Sorry.
Those are actually quotation marks.
In quotation marks, leadership.
That's fine.
Chris does not like his boss.
No, he does not.
Is kind of the energy I got from that.
I see it.
I can understand how that seems like a frustrating situation.
Totally, yeah.
What is your take, Kayla?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious what your take is.
Like hiding your cards over there?
A little bit. I want to
Okay.
go back to yours before.
Chris, listen up. Here's what you do.
Yeah.
First, my philosophy is you always try to exhaust all your options at your current place of work. It seems like he likes his company. He likes HR. He likes his boss's boss. It's just the particular boss is causing him a lot of problems. So I think, look, it's like every great thing in your life is like behind a difficult conversation. Try to have a conversation with the boss. I think that oftentimes we assume the worst and how people will react, or we assume that they know what they're doing and they continue to do it like in spite of that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people just genuinely don't know that like what they're doing is pissing you off. And so at least give your boss the benefit of the doubt and have a conversation about what specifically aren't you liking? What would you like to see change? Give the person the opportunity to prove you right, that they can change. If that does not work, and like, look, maybe you've tried this, it's clear things are a little fraught over in Chris's world with his boss, then I think you can go to like the next level, which would be maybe you like explicitly ask for a different boss. How can you stay at the company but don't have to report into this person? I would try those two things before going off and finding a new role. What's your take?
Well, yes, but I think that the question is, do I give the anonymous bad feedback? And I think that I disagree with you.
Well, so you would give anonymous feedback?
I wouldn't necessarily give anonymous feedback, but I think that if the issue, I mean, he listed like the vision, his leadership style.
I hate his shoes,
like
his clothes.
Everything.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a little bit beyond a difficult conversation. Like that's more, I mean, could you imagine if someone came up to you and was like, hey, I hate your vision. Like, could you adjust that, please, so that I'm happier at work? Like,
well, I think it's framing. It would be like, hey, I got to be honest with you. I don't understand how the vision for this team ladders up to what we're trying to achieve at the company. Mm-hmm. Can you walk me through how you landed on this vision and how you think it does?
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, now the floor is theirs. Maybe they prove you, maybe they show you something you didn't know, or maybe they are really a terrible leader, and that just gives you kind of the final push to go take it to someone else.
Yes, I see that. I could see a series of conversations, maybe alleviating some of the problem. But if you're like final day of reviews and like you're trying to decide if you should write this anonymous feedback, I think yes, but couch it. Like you don't need to be as honest, especially because, Chris, you've said that you already think it's a dumpster fire of leadership. So like you don't really trust the boss's boss anyways. So if you don't trust that they're going to take that appropriately and you don't trust that maybe they're not going to out you to your boss, I would say like, I have some concerns, but I would be very, very political about it and then see how that goes.
Yeah.
Before you like go burn the bridges.
Okay, my take on what he was saying was that he actually was kind of cool with the broader leadership, and maybe it was
Dumpster fire was his boss.
was his boss. So
see.
we're gonna have to go. We'll follow up with Chris about what he meant. I would disagree.
Oh.
So I think that I would never. I don't think you should couch language, like, ever. Like, it feels like you're being dishonest. If you're going to give anonymous feedback, commit to giving truthful anonymous feedback. It feels like that's a hedge where, like, you're not going to say what you really want to say, but also you're going to do it anonymously. And now I feel like you're, like, it could be attacked on, like, two fronts. What I would do is, like, one, if I never gave someone feedback to their face and I went to do it anonymously outside of, like, literally illegal things, I would feel so hurt if someone did that to me. Like, I would hope that someone had the, like, belief and also just, like, the integrity maybe to, like, tell me what I'm doing wrong to my face so I can try to make an adjustment. I think we owe it to the other person to give them at least one opportunity to change their behavior by telling them, like, hey, I don't believe in this, or hey, you're doing this and it's frustrating me. So I would try that. If that doesn't work, like, I'm fine going the anonymous route then, but, like, what you put in the anonymous thing, say what you mean. Because I just think that no half measures, basically. Like, say it to their face, respectfully but truthfully. If that doesn't work, go the anonymous route, and then you've at least given someone a chance.
Yes, but when I say couch, I don't mean lie. I mean, like, I've noticed some increased issues with how, you know, boss A is running their meetings. You don't have to be like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
You know?
But to me, okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
Well, no. It's just like, I don't think that I'm suggesting that you lie or, like, you're not honest about the situation, but I think you don't have to be as, like, I don't like this person.
So I think I understand what you're saying, and I think my follow-up question to you or to Chris would be, like, what does success look like?
I agree.
What do you hope comes out of this? And to me, if you go the anonymous route and you're like, yeah, I don't like how this person is running their meeting, and maybe that's true, I think your goal would be for them to run a better meeting. So then for HR and the boss's boss is again going to be like, okay, the goal is for this person to run a better meeting. We're going to go tell them to run a better meeting. They're going to know that it's probably you that said it. Like, now it's that weird thing where, like, you've tattled on someone, they know you've tattled on them, but you've never talked about it face to face, and it's like a weirder situation. Why don't you just go tell the person, hey, I don't like how we run meetings. Can you explain your rationale before doing that? I don't know.
Another thing, I agree with something so specific, like, hey, your meetings, like, your agendas are annoying. I think you can have a conversation. And that's a very easy, like, there's 3 levels of difficult conversations. And the first one is task-based. And saying, like, hey, this thing that you do, the agenda is the problem, not you, boss A.
Yep.
Like, that's an easy, difficult conversation to have. I think when it's like, I'm worried about the way that this person shows up every day and their vision and their, like, strategy for the team, I think that it's a little scarier to have that conversation. I also think that if you have a conversation with the boss A specifically and you don't trust that he's going to take or they're going to take, like, it well, A, or it to heart, B, like, that's annoying, and then you could feel more and more burnt out.
Yep.
Finally, the last thing I'll say about this that I do think is very important is his boss and HR, the boss's boss and HR may have no idea, and this may not be the only person that feels this way.
Yep.
And if they're basically, I'm afraid of having a difficult conversation as Chris, therefore I'm not going to say anything to them, and also I'm not going to say anything to anyone else. That's when that resentment builds up, and also changes could be made on a wider level that would benefit the company, would benefit the team.
Yeah.
That I think it's important for people to know.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And, like, maybe the worst thing you can do in this situation is nothing.
Yeah.
And anything better than nothing, if done respectfully, is going to get you maybe a little closer to resolution. So, Chris, this was a really great question. Also, take up, like, creative writing or something.
Yeah, that was great.
That had me on the edge of my seat. I kind of feel bad for the boss. I guess, like, again, listen to us, like, take the advice, whatever. But I think asking yourself some questions, which is like, what's the best case scenario for you? Are you trying to stay in this role? Are you trying to leave? Do you want this person fired? Do you think they're able to change their behavior? Like, there's probably a series of questions you have to ask yourself based on our conversation before you're going to know the path that's best for you. So good luck. Please write in to let us know how this
No, yeah.
quote unquote dumpster fire of leadership ends up. And if you have an opinion for Chris, drop it in the comments. And if you also have a situation where you want the wise wisdom of me and Kayla, per my last email at morningbrew.com, you too could be featured on a YouTube exclusive. That's all I got.
Okay, well, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.